Good afternoon, Fargo. Welcome to Talk of the Town with Jon Adams. I'm very excited. I'm very put off now, and I'm very sad. Three things that go hand in hand with being an American, being human in today's society. So first, I want to issue my condolences to the McKnight family on the passing of their mother, Louise McKnight, who was 92 years old, and she happened to be my mom's sister and my aunt, one of the greatest people on this face of the planet, and I'm very sad at her passing. But I can tell you that she was 92, and she had a good run, as we like to say, and it was great because I got to see her 3 weeks ago, and she mentioned how she was ready, and she couldn't wait to be reunited with people that had gone before her. So it's interesting in this situation. I'm happy for her that she's in heaven now, simply because things were getting tough for her. And it's nice that she didn't have to suffer through any of that long-term illness that was to come. Holy cow. So with that, we're off and running. I want to say peace and blessings to everybody that's on the radio show. Life has a way of changing your perspective, Last week I was raging, absolutely raging, upset with the campaign, raging at this and that. And then at the news that my aunt had passed, everything had changed, and it reminds me of what's important. So along those lines, I felt it was a good time to have the Dynasty people back on. Now, here's the funny thing. I am now a Dynasty person. I am the president of Dynasty Elite Athletic, which is an elite football program for people that want to take their kids to the next level. To my left are the lovely and talented people that made this all possible, Nick and Heidi Hawkins. And so we're going to talk to them because I have to tell you the journey of going from just Mr. Adams to Mr. Adams, President Dynasty, is that Nick and I had a conversation a while ago, and it turned to the hey, what do you think about this? And so I love the idea, and he's like, well, I'd like you to come on board in some capacity, and I really wasn't digging it because I just offloaded a bunch of volunteer activities, being on boards and coaching. And I went to not a scrimmage, I went to a practice, and then later on I got to see how these kids interacted with each other, and that sold me. That sold me on it, and the love that they have for themselves as well as the coaches. So with that, I wanted to be a part of something great. Nick and Heidi gave me the opportunity, and so now we're off and running, and I forgot, it's a lot of work to build a program and maintain it. It's one thing to build it, right, guys? It's another thing to maintain it, because when you deal with the human element, which is family and kids, it can go left or right in a hurry, okay? And Dynasty is not with its ups and downs as with every program, but what I like is the core values that we strive to maintain when it comes to Dynasty. So welcome, Dynasty. So welcome, Nick. Welcome, Heidi. How are you guys this morning?
Thank you. Good morning.
Yes, sir. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, Fargo. Moorhead.
So I'm going to start with, I had the good fortune of going to practice yesterday, and Coach Hawkins got to see a little bit of the old Coach Adams come out. I was there just doing administrative duties, which was taking care of business, signing people up for things that they needed to take care of. And next thing I know, I was standing next to Coach Hawkins with the linebackers. And it took all of 3 minutes for me to grab a kid and say, hey, man, if you don't sink your hips, okay, get a base under you, how can you move laterally? And the beauty of Nick is he never says no, but he just had a smile on his face like, yeah, okay. and so that began a what should have been a half hour, 45 minutes, just making sure we got all our business taken care of, into a 2-hour foray back into coaching. So it was enjoyable. I loved my time there. Coaches, don't worry, it's not going to be an every week thing, but it was just amazing how that happened. So Ms. Heidi, we're going to start with you because Nick's been on the show.
Okay.
Let's talk about Dynasty Athletic over the years.
It's been a labor of love. Is that
Right.
the expression?
Yes, it
right?
is.
Yes. It's been a lot of work, but it is really paying off. Each year, things get a teeny bit easier, a little bit easier for us, and I think the kids are able to relax and settle in a little bit more each year. So each year comes with improvements and new challenges, obviously, but it is becoming easier for us, and we're getting in our groove and really settling in.
So what would you say is your favorite part about Dynasty?
I honestly, on as being a mom, building the relationships with other moms and parents. Yeah, I think it's not just about the kids. This is really a family aspect, and in order for the kids to be there, the parents have to be there. So this commitment is for the whole family. It's not just for the children.
Right, and not only boys. We have a young lady who's out, and it's an interesting dynamic when you have girls out for football. Okay, and I watched her, and there's a little bit of uncertainty, but I watched the coaches, which is more important, because it's very easy. One thing that we talk about is you have to coach each kid as an individual if you want to be great. You can't treat them all the same. Well, I've never coached a girl in football. I've coached them in swimming and diving, but never football, and it's a different dynamic. And I actually meant to talk to her and see how she was doing yesterday, but I got into the football thing, and it was over in a hurry. But it's funny that you talk about the relationships, the parents, the people that you get to know there. And already, some of these kids, the first day they were kind of like, well, who's this guy? And already they're giving me the business. and that means, but that's a matter of trust, because, you have to earn this trust of these kids. They just don't give it to you because you show up.
Definitely.
But that some of the parents now, hey, how you doing, sir? That type of thing. So Gerald and I always talked about the fact that whatever sports you're in, those are your friends, right? Whatever sports your kids are in. So, Mr. Nick, welcome to the show this morning. Now, it's interesting because not only are you an administrator at Fargo, Ben Franklin, right? Or Fargo North?
In the Fargo Public Schools.
Okay, Fargo, well, help me out.
Yes, sir.
People know that I don't know everything, right? It's all right.
Got you.
Not only are you doing that, but you have Dynasty, and it's a pretty big mouthful, but you managed to get it done. What does it take to be disciplined to make sure that because there's so much behind the scenes? Because for you, not only do you have your kids at the school, you now have the kids at Dynasty. And for anybody who's been involved with kids, it goes way beyond the classroom or the field. So let's talk about how you manage that, because it is difficult.
It's very difficult being able to, prioritize that and balance that with, work and home life balance too. Because at the same time, I have kids of my own, so being able to differentiate between that is very challenging. But at the same time, it gives me that rush, that energy burst that I need. Being able to transition from one element to a different element to that next element. I look forward to practice. And it's, it's a grind. Just like the kids go through in practice, just, everything is a grind. So you got to be able to, turn the switch on and off in in which environment you're in.
Right. And one of the big things that I saw is that when you're up, the kids are up.
Oh, yeah. Yes, sir.
When you're at it to get things done, the kids are at it to get things done. But the second that you relax, they got their hands behind their heads, right? They're talking about Yu-Gi-Oh! Holy cow. They're talking about NCAA 25 is out now, so that's the big thing. But it's amazing how they go, how you go. And that's the importance of coaching and in parenting, that, you can't be up all the time, but you also have to be able to tell them it's okay that you're not up all the time. But when it comes to getting the work done, that's where I think you guys have excelled from what I've seen. I'm talking about the coaches now, where I've seen them excel. The second thing is, it seems like people are settling into a more structured organization because we formed a board, right? And now we have these things in place to make sure that things get better, because it's not smooth running an organization. And so the natural progression is to grow and be better every year. So talk about the process of forming the board and selecting a president.
Well, with any company or any business or any youth entity or whatever, it has to be more than just one or two people trying to operate the
Right.
day-to-day, operations and things like that, because it's very challenging when you have, two people trying to wear hats of 5, 6, 7, up to 13.
Right.
So I think the process came in just realizing that we cannot do this by ourselves,
Right.
and we need to, seek help and volunteer. Seeing who's willing to volunteer and commit their time to helping us, continue to, trend upward with this thing that we put together.
Right. Right.
I think when we started Dynasty, we had no clue this was going to take off the way it did. So when we started it, the intention was for one age group. And then that first year we had 2 age groups. And then we've just been doubling since then. So initially, I think it would have been fine with just us doing it, but it blew up and it just became too much for us.
And here we are today.
Yeah.
So Big Game James says we're up against the break. We're off and running with the folks from Dynasty, of which I am one. When we come back, we're going to talk more about what it takes to structure an organization, how to keep parents involved. And if you're looking to get your kid involved in Dynasty, we're nearing the too late section. When we come back, we'll talk about that on WDY, Talk of the Town with Jon Adams. Welcome back to Talk of the Town with Jon Adams. I'm here with Nick and I almost called you Anthony. Nick and Heidi Hawkins. I said that because I was thinking of Jake Anthony in my head, which Heidi has a connection to through her brother. And so that was the conversation at the break. One of the things that's happened this year with Dynasty is we've gone to a new league. And one of the things that's important when you have a group like this is that you have the right fit. Oh, hello. That you have the right fit. So let's talk about the new league and the fact that we're moving to a new, well, not moved, we're in a new league.
Yeah, we joined the Premier Youth Football League. It's a football league that's in conjunction with My 7 on 7, which is a a league that we, a lot of our kids have participated in during the spring, and felt comfortable with the guy that was, that's over and that's running. And I felt like it presented a better opportunity for our kids and families. Last year we did enter a league that put us in some challenging situations. A lot of things that were said that wasn't fully true. So so this year we joined the Premier Youth Football League, and Dynasty, we do travel, so it is going to be travel games. But I think the aspect of just being up front and open, that we are going to have home games, and we're going to have things to look forward to playing, like a playoff series, and even a championship in TCO or US Bank. I think that's a great added element for these kids, and something to work towards and continue to grind for. I think the structure and having the media and having the highlights and the media packages for all of these kids to get the exposure and the experience of playing in this league is is part of the reason why we joined. But just the whole structure of it, the whole the presentation that was presented, and the things that that's given us the opportunity to not only put our kids on the map, but put the state of North Dakota and the city of Fargo-Moorhead on the map as well.
That's outstanding. That is what it's all about. I've always said that North Dakota has a wellstone of hidden talent that people don't see because they think we're just up here, riding snowmobiles, and ice fishing.
Correct.
But for those of us who have coached athletes and seen a lot of them go on the D1, it really is amazing how many great athletes come out of the state of North Dakota.
And I think, excuse me, sir, I think another thing is, too, all of our kids will be able to play together at the same location and watch each other and help encourage them, and parents can all be there. If they have kids on multiple teams, we can all be in the same environment, and that's where that family structure and that, that eliminates that divisiveness. Like, you got a team playing here and then you got another team playing 20 or 30 miles away. We all at the same facility. That brings back that camaraderie against the fans in the stands as well.
I'm laughing because it's like, hey, wait a minute, I forgot this part. But that is a fact. I talked to a lady yesterday who has 2 kids, and as a former parent of athletes, the decision, who do we go watch, right?
Yeah.
And if you miss one, or dad goes to one and mom goes to the other one, and then you flip-flop, hey, there's a lot of conversation around the dinner table about, well, I know you didn't want to be at my game. It's like, no, dog, it ain't like that. When you know you didn't want to be at 4th grade soccer, but that was the flip of the coin, right? But at the same time, it does help that all these kids, they're all going to play their games at the same facility. And so I think it does breed camaraderie as well as the parent group. When you're with people on the road, you find out a lot about them as well as their kids. And I think that's what leads to the development. Now, you said something about the fact that we will get our name out there through the media. And it's funny because when I was coaching, we didn't have speakers on the sidelines. We didn't have music, right? We didn't have phones, on the sidelines, none of that. But increasingly, we see that this is part of the package that you have to have for these athletes today. And so enticing them, saying, hey, look, here's a chance where you're going to be able to put your stats out there. Here's a chance where people are going to look and they're going to know that you play in this Premier League. It all counts. And even if they're not going on to college, a lot of these kids want to play high school ball. And putting something on tape from an organization that cares about fundamentals, that cares about character development, that cares about community development of the athlete, it's essential, and it drives a lot of these kids, whereas when I was coaching, we just had to worry about being good coaches. Mm-hmm. So there is a lot of that out there. We were talking, you talked about 7-on-7. Is that the league that Melvin coaches? He's the director of? That's correct. Coach Melvin Whitney, in case you didn't know.
Correct.
He's like a mover and shaker behind the scenes. I believe he's a coach over at Concordia, but he's been immersed in the football community since his days at Shanley. And I believe he won a state championship too over there, part of their staff, and then moved to Oak Grove. And now he's over at Concordia coaching. But great guy, and it's funny because in our coaching community, we all lean on each other. We all know each other, and we all support each other. And that's the funny thing is he's behind the scenes doing what he can do. You're over here, I'm over here. So before I forget, I would be remiss if I didn't mention Miss Chelsea and the fact that there are cheerleaders for Dynasty. So just like anything else, there's a natural progression. So if you have a daughter or a son that they gravitate towards gymnastics or something like that, cheerleading is a way to go. Do cheerleaders flip? I don't know anymore. It's been a while since I've paid attention
They do.
to cheerleaders. Yeah. So here's another aspect to broaden out what your child does, to make new friends and to have a new experience. So all of that is all wrapped up in the Dynasty Elite Athletic Program. So let's talk about where we're headed. So right now we're in training camp, right? It's I won't call it two-a-days, but it is certainly dog days.
It's definitely dog days. It's definitely dog days. We building mental, toughness and character right now. That's what we building right now. We preparing, we stacking days, as you'll see. We trying to, put together a lot of quality days and reps and, put people in places that's going to contribute to the overall team to hopefully we can achieve success. So are they hard? Yes. Everything we do is going to be hard, challenging, and competitive. But at the same time, so is life. So everything that we do, we want it to translate over into school, life, work, whatever you so desire. So, yeah, we are in the middle of dog days.
And like you said, it's a 3-phase program. So we introduced our parent-athlete contract, and it's a protocol that we follow where we have 3 areas that we want our kids to be great in, and that's citizenship, teamwork, and family commitment, okay, as well as academics. So we talk to the family, we talk to parents and athletes about the importance of those 3 areas because, number one, football is a difficult game. As much as people think that we were meatheads and we were playing, it's very complicated. And so part of that is we have to know that the people that are coming to us have to understand that there's a certain amount of discipline that takes place. And we talk about discipline through life in 3 areas. So first, they need to be good students. And I've explained it to the boys, and you guys have talked about it, that you're going to need your education. You go to school to get an education. And it's their responsibility to do that. We talk about their home life and the fact that they have an obligation to their family to be a good person, to do the things that they need to do at home, okay? Not to have to be asked to be a part of the family or take care of their chores. And lastly, being a good teammate, which since I've come on, it's a different thing because they are responsible for their destiny. That's different for them. A lot of the old things like yesterday a mom showed up with a mouth guard. And I just asked her, I said, why are you holding the guy? Well, he had to. I said, well, but it's not your mouth guard. He has to be responsible for that. And she was like, you know what? Thank you, sir. I'm going to let him know that. And the thing is, that's the partnership. When I'm working, Nick, if I leave my window wash equipment at your house, I'm just out, right? You're not responsible for my equipment. So those are the things that we're doing is that we're teaching them that to have this experience, they need to own it. And I think that's different. And it's different for the parents to hear that we want the kids to own the experience, the parents to have the experience, That's different because a lot of parents are overly invested in the experience to the point where they're coaching, And we talk about we need our parents to be the biggest cheerleaders for their kids because life gets hard. And life at Dynasty is going to get hard. And so we need them to pour into them after the day, not get after them because they didn't jab step or missed a tackle or stuff like that. That's where the coaching comes in. And to their credit, I have to say, I've been fairly impressed with our parents. Now, I don't know if it's because I'm new and they haven't got, after people get used to you, then they kind of see how they can move around you. So it's funny because all the parents that I've talked to have been very, very, very nice, and about business. But we have the follow-through portion, which is coming up here, so we'll find out who's all in because we do have that expectation. So, talk about talk about the process of, well, I guess we're not, because James just said next break. We're going to go to break here. When we come back, we're going to talk about the process of building a winning attitude, as well as the highs and lows of being a part of Dynasty. We'll come back. This is Jon Adams with Talk of the Town. If you want to call in, the phone number is 701-293-9000. See you on the other end of the break. Welcome back to Talk of the Town with Jon Adams. I'm so glad that Big Game James came back in and said we're back on the air because these two are over here making googly eyes at each other. I can't stand you. You're killing me. Anyway, let's talk more about Dynasty. And I'm going to tell you guys, it's funny. The last segment, before we went back on, Nick said, hey, we need to talk about this and this. I think we got to that, but I don't even think we got to this and this. So I'm going to lead off with, now, people understand that I don't think anybody's getting paid in this endeavor. I know I'm not. I haven't seen the Dynasty checks rolling. I think I got a hat and a shirt as official payment. Even that I thought was advertising. But it takes money for these things to happen, and so we do fundraising. We have a lot of different events that we fundraise with. We do things at the Fargo Dome. We volunteer at a Rib Fest. All these things to offset the cost to the parents and the athletes so that they can have an experience without having to worry, as well as to run the organization. Because I can tell you that when we started up the athletic club over at Oak Grove, it was a lot of dads putting money in a pot in the organization to get it going and then figuring out from there. That was a challenge for you guys too. I know that you guys put your own dollars into it. Now it's gotten to the point where not even your own dollars is enough. And so we have to fundraise. So with that, this Saturday at the Family Fair on 25th and 32nd by Essentia Hospital, there's a car wash, the Dynasty Car Wash. It's from 11 to 4, is that correct?
Yes.
So 11 to 4, we're trying to raise some money. We got some big things planned. Part of it is if we're playing other states, like we have a trip to Tennessee that we're hoping we qualify for, where we get to play some top flight competition, which is one of the reasons that we have Dynasty. Okay, there's nothing wrong with the competition around here, but if you want to be tested, for instance, I have friends that have kids that play rugby, play lacrosse, and play basketball. And every weekend they travel to Minneapolis to test their mettle against other top flight kids. That's what we're doing at Dynasty, okay? There's nothing wrong with talent in North Dakota, but I always told my guys, you want to know, go down to Minneapolis or Chicago, and find out if you really can play the game. And for a lot of kids, it's an eye-opener in that they realize either they can play or they see what greatness looks like and they have to step up. So either way, we're giving these kids this opportunity every week during the football season. The second part of that is we want to do what I like to refer to as community outreach. Okay, and we're teaching our kids that they're part of the community. And being part of the community means that there's a certain amount of give back. Like I know on the swim team, we had the kids, they had to go out and shovel snow in the neighborhood. They had to help people in the community because the community is what's going to support this organization. And so there's a give back. So we're having a good old fashioned block party. Heidi, you want to talk about the block party?
Sure. It starts at 5 o'clock. It's at Elks up in North Fargo. We are having pulled pork.
Oh, yes.
And burgers and hot dogs, and then we'll have a side, and then there'll be drinks for sale. It's all free will donation, so we're hoping to get a really big turnout for it because we'd like to make it an annual thing and have this be one of our bigger fundraisers.
And just like, the community block party, the car wash is our first time doing it up here. So hopefully there's a big turnout. Hopefully if y'all passing in that area, y'all just want to pass by and, support us, just please come out and support us. Like I said, we do have aspirations of, going to Tennessee and Ohio to compete. And like you said, these events are not free. So please help us, support us, pray for us, do whatever that you need to do to keep us afloat and keep us going and keep us motivated and keep us driven.
Yeah, I think it's important. Like I said before, I think Fargo does teenagers very poorly. They do our young people very poorly, meaning that if you look at the city of Fargo, city commission, pay attention because I'm coming right at you. I don't think we do enough to keep our young people engaged, and that's why they leave. I don't care if it's the arts, if it's sciences, if it's athletics. I think we fall down a great deal in this town at keeping our kids challenged and occupied, okay? And I think Dynasty is a way to do that, as well as I think it's great they build that sports complex down there, but how many kids live down south of 52nd? It's the craziest thing in the world. A multi-million-dollar facility that's out of the way of where all the kids are. Okay? Now it's a community thing, and you know, I didn't go in for city planning or anything like that, but it bugs me that thing is so far out there. Whereas they have the industrial area of town up north, just west of the city, where it could be centrally located, where most of our kids would have been able to get to. Okay? But that's another story for another day, as I'm fond of saying. But here we have an entity that's, wow, I almost got on one there. Thank you for, both of you guys are looking at me like, bring it back, Mr. Adams, bring it back. So let's talk about building and shaping young minds. And so you're at practice, right? What are you telling your coaches? How do we go about making sure we're building in the right direction?
It starts with our 4 core values: effort, intensity, accountability, and encouragement. I think all of those 4 core values translate, and that leads to on and off the field. So like you said, like we led off with earlier, like if the kids see our body language down, their body language are gonna theoretically turn into piss poor body language. So we got to make sure that we on our A game, good or bad. We got things going on at home, at work, anything. We got to make sure we square, and we right, and we in our right mind frame to, continue the growth and development of these student athletes. So we just got to make sure that we all on the same page. We all, together. It's a big camaraderie, but at the same time, it's going to be challenging. It's going to be a grind. It's going to be hard. But hey, that's building that mental and physical toughness with character.
And I think we're working with preteen and teenagers. The energy will be matched that the coaches give off. So they come ready to feed off the coaches. They're prepared for that. So what the coaches give out, the kids are going to give back. So I think that's really important.
And I think some of that has translated, like this year we started something too, like when we do our pre-practice warm-ups and stretches, that's all player-driven, player-led. Coaches are not involved like we have been in the past. It's all player-led. So I think that's a big thing, growth and development of where we heading, and that's where that energy and the expectation of how this day gonna go, it starts in those warm-ups. If they have the energy, they had a fire, they had a passion at the beginning, it's gonna only transition into the rest of the practice.
I think too, at the beginning of practice, having the kids lead those exercises, I think it gives, and it's different kids, typically the same group, but it does change a little bit. It gives them an opportunity to be a leader and to be visible to all kids of all age groups, not just their team. So I think that's important, that, they can see, oh, when I'm in 8th grade, I can do that. When I'm in 7th grade, I can do that. So it just shows them that I can be a leader, and I want to do that. I want the kids to look at me and admire me and, follow my lead.
And the other part of that is a lot of parents. Now, it's funny because when I was coaching, we didn't see a lot of parents on the sidelines. Typically, if I told parents if they showed up, they were coaching. Okay, I need you to be involved. Okay, I need you to be active. If you want to come here, there's always something the parents can do. And we had a lot of parents volunteer. But for the most part, the sidelines are happening at Dynasty Elite when we're over at Lewis and Clark. And people aren't going home. They're watching and they're engaged. And that's the part where you sit amongst them, Heidi. Mm-hmm. And I think it's part of the learning experience for new parents. You're there to guide them. For old parents, it's the discussion.
Yeah. How
can we maintain? And I watch, and for you, it's not always pleasant, because you also have to do the administrative side. Is, hey, we need. By the way, Dynasty parents and athletes, by Thursday we need all of your certifications in and taken care of. Okay, this is one of the administrative. See, part of it is people don't realize that these things just don't happen. There's a mechanism behind it, and a lot of it has fallen on Heidi as well as the board. So you're out there yesterday with a clipboard. I'm out there with a clipboard trying to make sure that first concussion protocols are taken care of, school certification, age verification is done, all of these things that we need so they can participate, so they're covered under our insurance. This is not, it's not a fly-by-night thing, and it has to be done. And unfortunately, the person that has to walk in those shoes, where you have to say, hey, look, we need to make sure that you have a payment schedule, or have you paid, or what is the process, you know? Because this thing, hey, this does not run on money and good wishes, right? It takes a lot of work to get it done. So it's funny because, Nick, it seems like well, not seems like, coaching, the broad overview, Heidi's in the trenches with the parents, and then the board is here meshing the two, and now we have a cohesive unit, which I think that it's moving towards the next level. You know, everything is getting streamlined. Communication is getting streamlined. These kids now, and I shouldn't call them kids, but they're kids, you know? But these athletes now, you just see it. You see everything in Dynasty trending towards the right direction. So Big Game James says we're already up against the break. We have one more segment. We're going to talk more about Dynasty, what's to come with Nick and Heidi. This is Jon Adams with Talk of the Town. If you want to call in, the phone number is 701-293-9000. Thank you. Welcome back to the final segment of Talk of the Town with Jon Adams. Oh, hello. Welcome back to Talk of the Town with Jon Adams. I have my microphone behind me then. That was crazy. Anyway, so during the break, Nick and I were talking about something, and I think it's pretty good to note, excuse me, there's still time to sign up for Dynasty Elite Athletics. Now, the funny thing is that I had Ray chime in that we've got to be better than FM Athletics. We're not in competition with FM Athletics. We have a whole different product, so to speak. Our idea is that we want these kids to travel. We want to have a top flight experience beyond Fargo-Moorhead, okay? Second, we want to develop these kids so that they can go into high school ready to go in 9th grade, okay? We're teaching football as it pertains to the game now, okay? FM, for obvious reasons, has rules in place that limit the full scope of the game, and that's fine. It's a development league, and FM says we want everybody to play, okay? And that's fantastic. A lot of people get the opportunity. Two separate things. The idea is that these kids have an opportunity. There are kids that are going to leave Dynasty because it doesn't fit, there's going to be kids that leave high school, the early grades, 7th and 8th grade, where it isn't a fit. It's not about the program. It's about providing these kids with the opportunity. So I want people to make it perfectly clear, there isn't a competition. We're going to take the kids that want to be with us. We're going to rock with those parents and families. We're going to give them a top flight experience, just like FM has done, just like the 7th and 8th grade teams in the high schools have done. So I guess I should say middle school. But the point is that we're all here for the kids, and if that's our focus, then they're going to have a quality experience when it comes to cheer team and when it comes to Dynasty. So with that, yes, there is still time to sign up. Now I forgot the other thing that we talked about during the break. So there's the sign up as well as the fundraising events on Saturday. You guys ain't gonna help me out? I cannot remember the third.
I just, just add on to, being better than somebody else. I think it also comes down to knowing what our lane is and staying in our lane and progressing our lane, not perfecting it, but progressing it. Like, Coke don't worry about Sprite or Dr. Pepper. McDonald's don't worry about Burger King or Wendy's. I think the thing is that we do is we going to guarantee that these kids are ready for high school ball. And the proof is in the pudding. The kids that's been through this program, check the varsity rosters out right now for these high school teams that's going to these kids going to 9th grade. They're already on varsity teams. They already going to get varsity tick this year. So it ain't about being better than somebody else. It's about being better within our own program. You know what I'm saying? The proof is going to be in the pudding when you have a freshman that's going to get tick in a varsity game on Friday nights. That's what we promote, and that's what we want to do, prepare them for high school and being, great citizens within the community and abroad. So we just want to progress in our lane.
Ms. Hawkins.
Yes.
I'm going to let you have the last word between you two. What message do you have for the parents that are coming out and being part of this experience, part of this program?
We really invite you to dive in. We want, this experience just isn't for the kids. I mentioned you're investing all this time and energy yourself. So if you are interested in volunteering, or whether that's a team mom or volunteering at fundraising events or what have you, we encourage you to do that. We invite you to do that. I just think that the parents are such an important part that we need to include them in not everything, but as much as we can to keep them motivated to stay within the family and help grow our family.
I think that one thing that parents have to understand is that your athletes are watching. And if you don't take this seriously, they're not going to look at it in the same light. But if you're invested, they will do whatever you want. And the funny thing is that I always used to use the ability to be on the team as a control mechanism for the parents. And I would tell them, let them know that they're going to be limited in their experience if they can't do the work outside of the program. Secondly, if they're not working hard enough within the program, they're going to have the limited experience. We need parents to carry that message to their kids. We don't need you to browbeat them. We don't need you to be on them. We got that portion. But in order for them to have a quality experience, they've got to know where. Look, I watch soccer games, and I can say it now. Most of the time I was bored stiff because I didn't understand it. But you know what? Our kids need our support, not just in football, but in life. We need to get back to community raising these kids. We can't be afraid to say something. They used to say, see something, say something. So I want to thank you guys for being on.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for the opportunity to be a part of the organization. My wife is going to appreciate it simply because I'm out of the house now. Okay, so for at least one day a week, she's able to have the TV or watch her shows without me asking crazy questions. Now remember, we have the car wash on Saturday. It's 11 to 4. Even if you don't come out and wash your car, come out and support the kids. Come out and hang out. Are we going to have hot dogs out there?
No, we're saving it for the block party.
See? So there won't be any hot dogs, but you can get your car washed. Secondly, we have the block party up at the Elks in North Fargo. Now, there will be food there.
Yes.
I think Coach Mike or Coach Lenny, one of the two, has been bragging about his pulled pork. and as a Metasaurus
That's Coach
on
Mike.
the scene. Coach Mike, I'm putting it out there right now. Don't fake the funk on the barbecue, because I will know. Okay?
Yeah.
So we're gonna have that. We're gonna have games. We're asking the community come out large. There's free will donations, so the food is free, the games, all of this. Man, a hawk just flew over this stadium. Anyway,
He's been out there.
holy cow. Anyway, sorry I got distracted, but come on out for Dynasty. Evidently, James has decided to play me off my own radio show. So this is it for Talking the Town with Jon Adams. We want to thank you guys for tuning in. And as always, stay black.